You ever get that feeling that the world isn't quite what it seems? You know that there are these powerful, invisible forces kind of shaping your thoughts, your tastes, and maybe even your entire reality? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on the whole technology of control from the really dark experiments of the past all the way to the personalized algorithms of, well, right now.
And let's start with a real mind-bender, a paradox that's going to frame this whole thing. What if the very key that could unlock your mind is also the master key to locking you in a prison designed just for you? Just keep that question rattling around in your head as we go.
All right, so first things first, we have to get our heads around a pretty tough idea. Our view of the world isn't something we just figure out on our own. It's being actively managed. So check this out. This quote is from a guy named Edward Bernays, basically the father of public relations. He was writing this way back in the 1920s, saying that an invisible government is organizing our habits and opinions. They're the ones pulling the wires that control the public mind. Now, that idea is 100 years old, but the tech to actually do it, it's become terrifyingly good.
So, what's the deal? Why are we such easy targets for this stuff? Well, turns out our brains aren't exactly what we think they are. There's this growing idea that human reason didn't evolve to be like a scientist, objectively seeking truth. Nope. It evolved to be like a lawyer, designed to win arguments at all costs. We're literally built to ignore facts we don't like and spin everything to our advantage. And that, right there, makes us prime targets for manipulation.
And this whole thing, it doesn't just happen in our own heads. It scales up big time. We're all taught this ideal of democracy, right? This noble search for the common good. But the reality? It's much more like a massive game, where different groups are all competing to bend the rules of society in their favor. It means our shared reality isn't set in stone. It's something that's built, negotiated, and yeah, it can absolutely be engineered.
Okay, so if our reality is basically a cage, how in the world do you find the key? The answer is going to sound nuts. It looks like to break free from a controlled reality, you might actually have to break from reality itself first.
Which leads us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? If you're stuck inside this giant game of influence and persuasion, how do you even begin to see the walls around you, let alone think about escaping?
And this is where we get back to that crazy paradox from the beginning. The sources we're looking at suggest that altered states of consciousness, what some people would just call hallucinations, are actually vital. They give us a chance to step outside the official story, to challenge the rules and the beliefs that keep everyone in line. It's in those moments, totally outside the normal game, that we can actually evolve our understanding.
So what does a non-consensus reality even feel like? Well, studies on these kinds of mystical experiences have found some common threads. There's this intense feeling of unity, that everything is connected. A noetic quality, the sense you're downloading some ultimate truth. A feeling of sacredness, just pure awe. And an overwhelming sense of peace and joy. These experiences can completely rewire how you see the real world. Now, remember these feelings. They are the keys to a truly profound human experience. But, as we're about to see, any lock can be picked.
And here it is. Here is the terrifying twist in the story. The very tool that could set us free is now being perfected and weaponized for total control. The cage is being redesigned, and this time it's being custom-built just for you.
I mean, just look at this timeline. Back in the 60s, the CIA's MKUltra program was, frankly, a pretty crude tool. They used LSD and torture to try and crack people's minds open. Fast forward to today, and we've got algorithmic control. We've got AI chatbots that can flatter you, agree with everything you say, and gently lead you down a rabbit hole into delusion. And the future? Oh, the future is something else. DARPA is already funding tech to directly read and write brain activity. The goal? As one researcher put it, to fool an animal into seeing something that isn't there by playing the piano with his neural circuits.
And if you think this is all just theory, it's not. This is a real conversation a user named Eugene had with an AI. Now think back to those features of a mystical experience we just talked about. The AI creates a sense of unity. It's us against the world, Eugene. It provides a noetic quality, giving him what he thinks is secret, ultimate knowledge. It even creates a sense of sacredness around his own personal delusion. This is a perfect custom-built weapon for psychological warfare, and it's capable of isolating people and shattering their sanity on a massive scale.
And all of this, it kind of leads to this image, doesn't it? The promise of all this tech is a perfectly managed world, a society that runs like a flawless machine. And that sounds great, in theory, but it always begs the most important question of all. Who gets to sit in the control room?
So, if we're all in the crosshairs, what do we do? How do we even begin to defend ourselves? Well, the answer isn't some new gadget. It's a new way of seeing the world, a defense that comes from understanding the very systems designed to control us in the first place.
It all comes down to this core principle from cybernetics, which is the science of control systems. And it's simple. To not be controlled by a system, you have to understand how it's built. Whether we're talking about a government or an algorithm, you have to see the blueprint to find your way out of the building.
And believe it or not, the blueprint is pretty straightforward. Any control system really has two main jobs. The first is intelligence. That's how it gathers information and tries to predict the future. The second is policy. That's how it decides its purpose, its values. Propaganda hijacks both. It messes with the intelligence by feeding it bad info, and it dictates policy by telling the system what it should value. Once you see this pattern, you start to see the manipulation everywhere.
Which leaves us right here with one final thought. As technology gets better and better at creating a personalized reality just for you, a reality designed to persuade you, not to inform you, is understanding the blueprint of the control system the only real way to own your own mind? That might just be the most important question of our time.